2, 1, go.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Mboulas. For my demonstrative speech, we'll be talking about taxonomy. What is taxonomy? Now, taxonomy is a very unknown science branch, as not a lot of people will talk about it or even know what it is. Now, taxonomy is the science of naming, describing, and classifying organisms, and that includes all plants, animals, and microorganisms in the world. That is the definition by the Convention of Biological Diversity. Now, essentially, to paraphrase, taxonomy is how animals, plants, and fungi in the world are categorized. There's a lot of categories, and it starts very, very broad, and it gets more specific and smaller categories until you get to the exact species of the animal. Now, domain is the largest of them all. There's only 3 domains. There's going to be the domain that includes all the animals in the world, there's going to be the domain that includes all the plants in the world, and then there's going to be the domain that includes all fungi, which includes things like mushrooms, because mushrooms are technically not plants. Then you go down to kingdom, then you go to phylum, class, order, and it gets more and more specific until you get around family. Now, family is where it gets more well known. An example of family would be Canidae, and then genus Vulpes, and then species Vulpes vulpes. Now, Canidae is where you're going to find all your coyotes, wolves, foxes, and stuff like that. Genus is where you're going to find foxes. All foxes is going to be Vulpes, that's their genus, and their species is the specific fox or animal. In this case, Vulpes vulpes is the scientific name for the red fox. Why is it important to study taxonomy? A quote from the California Academy of Sciences: "It helps us categorize organisms so we can more easily communicate biological information." Now, it does that, but it also does a lot of other smaller things that you wouldn't exactly guess. Now, there's also such thing as disease taxonomy, which is going to help you classify diseases. It's going to help facilitate trade. Many species of animals are found and discovered every single year, so when a new species is discovered, taxonomists will help classify it and find out what it is, and if it's a new animal, they'll give it a name. They'll also help conserve wildlife. Invasive species are very harmful to many ecosystems, so taxonomists will classify the species if it's unknown or if there's not much known about it, and will see what they can do to try to get the species out or at least reduce its population. What are the limits of taxonomy? Well, in my personal opinion and many other scientists' opinion, family, the rank family in the taxonomy chart seems to be where the limit is. Anything beyond family, like you can't breed a bird and a whale, they're nowhere near the same DNA, genetic material, or anywhere near each other on the taxonomy chart. But family, such as a coyote and a wolf, where they're both in Canidae, that's a different story. Here are a bunch of examples. You have the liger, you have the zedonk, the mule, the pisley or the grolar bear, you have the tigon, and then you have the cross between a bottlenose dolphin and a false killer whale. These are all examples of animal hybrids that are real. This is not fake. These are all real animals. Most of them only occur in captivity, though, because you're not going to find a lion and a tiger in the wild together. You're not going to find a horse, a donkey, or a zebra out in the wild together. Now, things like the grolar bear, because of global warming, have actually been happening more often in the wild as polar bears are migrating more and coming closer and closer to grizzly bears in the wild. Now, can science go too far? As much as people like to see the ligers and the grolar bears and all of the other animals, is it morally sound, and how far can we push it? Now, something that's been a bit more controversial within the taxonomy community is the hypothetical of a chimpanzee and human hybrid. This is brought up not often, but it is brought up because of the fact that, as you can see, they're in the same family. And as we just discussed, if animals are in the same family, example, llamas and camels, odds are they're going to be able to crossbreed. Now, the problem with this is it morally correct to really breed a chimpanzee and a human? It's never been on the record. No one's ever done an experiment in this. Any country, any continent, no one has ever done an on-the-record experiment of a crossbreed. But hypothetically, it may or may not be possible. Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
Yes. What is your personal opinion on crossbreeding? Do you think it's morally okay?
What is my personal opinion on crossbreeding, and do I think it's morally okay? My personal opinion on crossbreeding is, I'd say, do I think it's morally okay? To go back to the examples, things such as the mule, I think that's morally okay, and there's a reason. Things such as mules, there's no extreme genetic disorders that are going to harm their life. They're going to be able to live a nice, happy life without really being harmed by any genetic disorders. Now, because it's a crossbreed between a donkey and a horse, they're not going to be able to breed. They are infertile. But their own personal health is perfectly fine. Now, the problem with morals gets to when you come around ligers, things like this, tigons, which is a liger would be a female lion, a male tiger. Tigon is male lion, female tiger. Now, the problem with ligers and tigons is they have a lot, especially ligers, they have a lot of genetic disorders. Ligers are very often overweight, have claw problems, have a lot of dental problems, they can't always eat correctly, they may even have some brain disorders. They're not really going to live an extremely happy life, especially with all these disorders they're having that is preventing them from doing so. And when it comes to the chimpanzee-human hybrid, I personally don't think that is morally okay. As much as it is interesting to talk about and hype and theorize about, I don't think that will ever happen within human history, as it doesn't, you would need consent, and you can't really do that between a monkey and a human, and you don't know the outcome. It's just, it doesn't seem morally sound to do. That's my personal opinion on the morals of crossbreeding. Are there any other questions?
No.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.